Sports betting has always existed, but smartphones have changed everything. Today, every play, every timeout, every notification is another chance to place a bet, turning sports into one of the most powerful attention machines ever built. But it's not just sports. It's politics. It's everything, culture. We are betting on our lives. So has technology made us bigger fans, more engaged, more connected, or just better customers? Tonight, we're going to explore how gambling apps are reshaping the way we watch, think, and engage with the games we love and the life that we live. Let's get to it. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening. Hello, everyone. Welcome to The Rundown. My name is David, and I am so happy to be here with you every Thursday night with some amazing friends. So happy to see these folks every single Thursday night. What a gift to see Tamara Pika. How are you, Tamara?
Hello. I'm feeling a little nervous, but I'm here to learn and grow.
You and me together. Let's hold hands. You and me together, Tamara, because neither of us know anything about betting. But that's okay. We've got.
But I'm open-minded. I'm willing to learn more.
Yeah, see, I'm not.
I actually did research, so I was willing to dive into this to come prepared, and I'm still completely confused.
But I'm willing to learn more, but here's why I know I'll never do it, because I have my personality is it's why I can't eat a little bit of ice cream, because a little bit turns into an entire pint.
That's me too.
Yeah,
that's a slippery slope that I should not go.
I agree. Tony, how about you?
I am. I'm just being a student tonight. this conversation that we're having tonight, I am definitely out of my element. But like Tamara, I plan to see what I can learn.
There you go.
This whole process.
How are you doing?
I'm good.
Good.
No complaints.
Good. Love it.
Good conversation last night.
Yeah, I was watching. It was a really good conversation. Fantastic. And let's say hello to Lois Richter. Hello, Lois.
Hello, everybody. I'm having a surprisingly good day. I mean, it's over 100, so I stayed inside. But it's been so nice to see all of you folks. And, David, let's get some more people on here. I mean, I love y'all.
I would love.
I want to get a few more.
I would love that. I love it when Sky comes in and when Dave joins us, and yeah, everyone's welcome. Everyone's welcome. Reach out to me, folks, on Discord. We'd love to have you on here.
Especially if you're a gambler.
Especially if you're a gambler. Absolutely.
I bet we get a new person next week.
24.
You want to take me up on that?
24 FPS tonight. I don't know why, Tim McCullough. I don't know why we're only 24 FPS.
Australia.
Is that why? Because it's taking a
Wayne's in
24 frames per second, which is a little slower than usual. I have it set to, I don't know what I have it set to. I have it set to Dave Troutman. That's what I have it set to.
Well, I'm here to school you guys. That's what I'm here.
You're here to teach us. You're here to teach. How you doing, Dave?
Tell you, I'm doing all right. Yeah. Pretty busy lately, but yelling at people for money, it's always hard.
Busy is good. Busy is good. Absolutely. And let's say hello to Mr. Sky Gleason.
I'm unmuted, but I'm betting I'm going to finish all of these blueberries by the end of this show.
Tell us about the blueberries.
We have 4 large bushes in our backyard, and they exploded into ripeness this week. And so it would be a sin if I didn't eat them. So the bet is Tamara's going to go right there. You got a thing. And I'm just going to be picking my teeth all night because it's going to be Tamara's going to help me out.
I have the largest mango tree right outside of my office that goes up and over the roof. And every 10 minutes, boom, boom, boom. Every 10 minutes, there's a mango falling on my head. And of course, by the time they hit the ground, by the time they hit the ground, I can't do anything. I mean, they're mangled by the time that
I had a friend in Kauai that his wife was allergic to mangoes, and he had all the way around the outside, and he had to cut them all down.
Oh, that's sad.
It's just, oh, exactly.
That's
So no
sad.
thunking at his house. But again, if I have a little thing right there, it's a blueberry, and it's so good.
Enjoy it.
Right.
Hey, I'm going to press this button that makes the news thing go. But while I'm doing that, Vic is telling us that Tony and Lois, your levels are a little low. Maybe you could pop those up a little bit. Let's get to the. All right. iOS 28 public beta came out. I immediately downloaded it onto my phone. And I was immediately underwhelmed. I'm sorry. I got on the wait. I immediately put my name on the wait list for the new, because you don't get the new Siri right away. So you can download it and you get the public beta and you get all the other stuff that they did. Although I honestly can't see anything else that they did. But I mean, you get the slider for the transparency. But okay. But I immediately went into Siri and I said, I want access. And about an hour and a half later, I got access.
Is she better?
I'm sure she is. I'm sure she is. I
finish scanning all your stuff.
I know. No, well, it's been on for a week, almost a week now. So it's done scanning because I don't use any Apple services. So there's nothing to scan. But I mean, yes, of course she's better. Here's my critique is actually not a critique of Apple. It's that, and I might be different than other people in this, but I am so locked into OpenAI ChatGPT right now. I have used them for
ChatGPT.
What'd you say?
Voice ChatGPT.
Yeah.
Like we went shopping today. People were staring at me talking into
Yeah.
my
I've poured so much energy into using that platform that I'm not going to use Siri. I don't care how convenient it is.
I feel like Jason Snell's comment in Six Colors, where he was like, "I just have to remember to use it."
Yes.
Like, I can't remember to use it. I'm like, that is 110% going to be my problem, because Siri is so unreliable to me in a belligerent sort of way that I have like such a hate relationship.
Yeah.
That the idea that I would think Siri before, and I do pay for Claude, ChatGPT, and Gemini, so I like. It will just never come up. It'll never it'll take a lot of training to get me to kind of shift over, I think.
Speaking of Claude, by the way, Tony, thank you, shared with me that Claude is just announced Claude for Teachers, and you can get free access to sort of the pro plan of Claude. Be very intentional about how you sign up, though, because I was not. And I managed to lock myself out. So I'm going to have to figure out a way to do that, because you have to have an email. You have to prove that you're a teacher. You have to, upload documentation, whatever. But yes, that's a great. I'm going to have to be reminded to use it. Go ahead, Sky. I'm sorry.
See, that's the initiative of somebody. At one point, I remember the Steve Jobs said, "I want to put an Apple IIe in every elementary school," and that's again you're prejudicing to your point of, I will only use this because that's the only thing that's the first thing I learned how to ride on that bicycle. So I'm only ride Schwinns from now on. So if we get them young, so yes, that you are addicted already. I can see why you don't gamble. Good point.
I
But-
see
nice
that
12
Tamara-
It's not that I'm not saying that I won't use. Sorry, Lois. I'm not saying I won't. I'm just saying, it's like Tamara just quoted Jason Snell. I'm so locked in.
Yep.
Right.
And they're unfortunately late to the game. And
Well, no.
Yeah,
what
here's another
we talked about it last week is that she is making it very appealing. I had a friend this last week said his mother is now in love with Meta as her second husband because he says nice things to me. It's like, oh,
right.
you're being your smoke going up, is going up your skirt.
Last thing, and then Lois. When I was driving home tonight, I wanted to have a good experience with Siri for this show. So I struck up a conversation. And it took me 3 times to even get the conversation to start because you have to wait a half a second for the bling bling to go so that she's listening. And then she doesn't, if you don't say something quickly enough, she just turns off, she stops listening. And then I said, my prompt was, let's have a conversation. And she had nothing to say. If I said that to ChatGPT, she would never shut up.
But in retail, what is that called? Customer service? Customer is always right. This is not a new scenario. So again,
Go ahead,
The
Lois.
problem is this I'm sorry, Lois, just one little thing and then I'll.
Lois is never going to get in. Never.
No, she will, I promise. But like the problem with Siri is that I think that they really should have called it something else because we have
Maybe.
such bad experiences with Siri that when Siri has problems in the way all of these GPTs, they've all had problems. They all give us bad information at times, but we're a little more forgiving because we've cultivated that relationship.
Right.
The relationship that we have with the last 10 years of Siri has been not as special.
Yeah. Lois.
Okay. I think that are going to be very happy that Siri has now got AI access because they haven't used it.
Hey, Lois.
And now they're going to.
Hey, Lois.
Yeah.
I have to deeply apologize. You were muted just then.
No.
No, you were. Not on your end, on my end. Can you repeat what you were saying? I'm so sorry.
But you all heard me, didn't
No,
you?
we heard you, but no one on YouTube did. That was my fault, and I'm
so-
very, very sorry.
So what I was saying is that those people who are already using AI in various forms, Claude or ChatGPT or whatever, and like that experience and use it a lot, they're perhaps not going to be interested in switching to Siri. But those people who haven't yet gotten hooked on one of those AI programs and have been using Siri to set the timer and the alarms and all that other stuff, they're now going to have Siri with AI. So I think that Apple is going to get a lot of folks very excited about it, but not the people who were early adopters of the other programs.
I think that's fair. I think you're right. And like I said, I'm not. None of us are normal. My experience may not be everyone's experience. I was, based on the reviews, I was really looking forward to a much different experience. And I just haven't had it yet. It's only beta. So, and I'm eager to put it on my Mac too, but I was afraid because of the show tonight. Maybe I'll do it tomorrow. But go ahead, Sky, did you want to jump in?
no, I saw Tony. I'm voting for Tony.
Oh,
Right there.
Sorry, Tony.
No, I was just trying to say that I agree with everything that's been said. The issue I'm having with Siri is though that when I look at my wife or my in-laws, anybody who has an iPhone, they are still continuing. And believe me, I am an Apple fanboy, so it's not any kind of bias in terms of Siri versus the other assistants. I am like Tamara. I'm paying for multiple AIs, but a simple thing like her calling her sister, asking Sam to do it, when she has to do it 3 times before the call will go through. And as of today, earlier this afternoon, I was trying to use Siri for something, and it just could not do it. I mean, I did, it was like 5 times, and it went to something that was totally different than what I was asking. It was nowhere near what I was asking. So there is a lot of work that needs to be done with Siri, and I'm hoping that the update does make a difference.
Yeah, I agree. Speaking of Siri, and Apple, Apple is suing OpenAI. Now, this may not seem like, everyone always sues everyone. It may not seem like such a big deal. And we have yet to find out what actually comes, especially in discovery. But fundamentally, Apple is contending that OpenAI is stealing Apple's trade secrets, that they are actively coaching Apple employees on how to get out of Apple on their way to OpenAI and not lose access to, again, trade secrets, and then that they're using those or they're bringing them over, and specifically this is connected to hardware, because we know that OpenAI is, or at least the rumors are that they are making some grand, device that we're all going to be able to access ChatGPT on. So this is pretty big. It's also interesting to me that they did not go after the person who they are claiming took information over. They're going after OpenAI. And whether they win or not, this is yet another black eye, I think, on a company that I am deeply invested in, not financially, but otherwise.
You got shares in AI, do you?
No, I do not have any shares in anything.
Okay.
But
'Cause you seem to be taking the position that Apple's in the wrong here.
no, not at all. Not at all. In
Well, you said
fact,
black eye, so I kind of
no, they're giving. No, what I'm saying is, no. I think OpenAI is getting another black eye.
okay.
Yeah, no, not Apple. They're getting another one. They're already not very well trusted, and I think this is yet another. No, I don't. Look, I think it's entirely possible that Apple has manufactured some of this so that it plays out in the court of opinion rather than a court of law. I think that some of what they have in the filing is specific enough that if they don't have the evidence to back it up, then they are the ones who are going to have a black eye. So I think that they are probably coming to it with evidence behind them. If it's true, it's awful what OpenAI is doing. It's unforgivable.
I think you nailed it when you said the word discovery, because I think that that's part of why they would go not for the individuals, that they literally have their computers, they can see that they logged in, like they know who it is and who did what when. So I think that it is a matter of saying, even if they're not 100% sure, then that's the road you would go down to try to find out more clarity on that question.
And I think this is the perfect natural lead into it's a calculated risk. And this is where Troutman's going to teach us about betting, because I mentioned to Lois earlier about, well, we don't bet. And then I heard from a lawyer one time, he says, do you get out of bed in the morning? And the comment was, anything you do after that is a risk. So how much risk do you want to take on? So,
But risk is not betting.
Right.
There's a difference.
okay, that will be a fun continuing conversation. That will thread throughout the day. Risk and betting.
Well, I guess for the Apple thing, I would say that I have a great deal of confidence in the lawyers at Apple because they seem to win.
Mm-hmm. And it wasn't just one person.
Not that it's right or wrong.
There was also a purchase of a company that was the IO company.
Mm-hmm.
So there's more to this than was just described.
Always.
And so I'd say let's keep track of it. And
Well, like good poker players, they're holding their cards pretty close to the chest, and they're taking that chance that the other side folds. That's all.
I mean, I wonder.
Continues.
I wonder if that's Apple's goal, is to have them fold. My gut is that it actually isn't. That this is a big enough accusation that they'd like to see it play out. I don't think they're looking
We
for
say
a cash
750
settlement.
billion against 1 trillion.
Yeah.
I don't know.
I'm thinking, for Meta, the Cambridge Analytics crisis should have killed them. That was unethical,
Yeah.
deceptive, and produced zero results for the cost of it.
You're right.
Um,
That's
now,
true.
so it may be a case of just, throwing a spotlight on OpenAI and saying, look, we had to deal with these guys to have chat on our system, but now we find that they're not stealing our people, because you can do that. If you can pay them more, that's great. They're happy to go. But if you've got real evidence and lots of logs showing who was teaching who to hack into the Apple system and take the stuff home, then you've got a real criminal case here. So
And it also shows, not that this is
it's not
secondary,
corporation to corporation. This is a criminal,
Right.
thing.
but this
Yeah.
and this is secondary. But if that's true, it also shows the potential weakness of some of Apple's systems and securities, that someone was able to,
With their
you know,
own people being that
right,
unhappy
able to
that they
take
would do
stuff.
this. Yeah.
No, but for not that they would take stuff, that they're able to, walk out. My brother works at Google, and every time we go out there, he kind of, he takes us on a little tour around, and we can't even walk on the floor that he works on. We got stopped by security. He got stopped by security on the floor that he's worked there for like 25 years. He's not a youngin over there, and their security, I mean, they don't, they're no jokes over there. If someone is accessing Apple proprietary information on their personal laptop, and again, that's secondary to the real crime, but it's ancillary, and I think it's potentially interesting. So, okay,
I've watched a lot of CEOs take a lot of stuff home on their laptop, and
yeah,
it was military secrets. So there is that.
Right. I bet it's a common occurrence.
I wonder. It might be, yeah.
At the C site,
That-
it's a
that's to
C-suite
segue us into
privilege,
betting.
that the regular folks don't have.
It's so I created this app for my Temple community, and because I just sign up for everything and I don't really think about it, I signed up for all the different tools that I'm using, for Resend, which is the mail service, and Twilio, which is the SMS, and Lovable, and GitHub. I just signed up with my own personal account. I didn't even think about it. And one of the things that we decided is that no, these all need to be signed up on Temple or organizational accounts. And so I moved everything over, and it's not, there are no trade secrets that are going to slip out from me, but fundamentally it's the same idea, is that when you work for an organization, you're doing work on their behalf, you don't own that work. That's not yours. And you don't get to take it with you and have it on your personal devices and things like that. So, all right, let's get into it. This started with a question from Lois. And so, Lois, I'm actually going to kind of turn to you, if it's okay, just to kind of plant a seed for us about where this came from. But the only piece that I want to preface that with is that while this started, for me at least, thinking about sports gambling, it really became something much bigger, because we're not just gambling on sports anymore. We're gambling on politics. I'm sure that many, many thousands of people have bets right now placed on what Donald Trump is saying as we speak during his speech tonight. So, but before we jump into that, Lois, could you maybe what planted this seed for you? Where did this come from for you?
I have an admission. I play games on my phone. And when I run out of tokens, I watch an ad in order to get more. I mean, they do that to you. And there's an ad for one of them is Kelshi, and there was about 3 or 4 different gambling programs on there, and they were encouraging you to bet on the soccer games, on the World Cup. And I got to thinking about it, that there's so much excitement about betting on that. And I was wondering if it had actually changed people's actions, so that maybe there's a lot more people watching that game this year than there was the last time it happened. And so I put in a little note about how has gambling, I was thinking of the sports gambling, how has that changed our activities, our actions, our personal behaviors?
The way you just asked the question, Lois, is when you started. I wondered if more people would be watching the World Cup because of this. The first thing that came to my mind is they're not actually watching the World Cup. They're watching to see if they win on their next bet. And now
They're watching for
background,
different reasons,
right? The
but
background
they're still
happens to be
watching.
the World Cup. No, of course they are. I understand that, but the
Yeah.
background is the World Cup. That's not the most important thing anymore. So it's almost as if the value that we get from the game has shifted from the game itself being intrinsically, we value watching the game and sharing this experience with the people sitting next to us on our couch, to who's going to score next. Will this drive end in points? Is it going to be a strike or a ball? Is it going to be, cash out now or wait? I mean,
So there's a, in my mind, there's a qualitative difference between I'm rooting for this team and you're rooting for that team, and we're talking, and they're gonna, and then I turn to you and say, put your money where your mouth is. I'll bet you $100 that my team wins. Okay, two people making a bet against each other because they're supporting their team, and there's a difference between that and the people who I would say have a betting addiction. Maybe the people who go and bet on racehorses. I mean, things where it's not your horse, it's you bet on this horse and now it's your horse. And but I think there's a qualitative difference between that sort of personal support your team and I, I want to just bet.
I agree. And
I think we have a third one now, which is there's sort of the day trader mentality where I'm going to make a lot of money.
Right.
I can bet on all these things and I'll make a lot of money. So we've got three different things going on here.
And
The
the second piece is what I was really getting at. Sorry, Sky,
Yeah.
is that it's no longer about my team. I'm cheering on my team. It's only about, the next play is gonna end in a fumble, because that's what I bet on. I mean that's it's not even about the game or the teams anymore. Sorry, Sky, go ahead.
Well, what brought to mind was like a TV that did an interview about professional gambling, and the person that they were interviewing talked about it needed to be all about numbers. And he was sitting in Las Vegas at the time, where that was the big center of the gambling opportunity, and he was sitting at the, let's say it was the roulette table, and he said, here's the money, here's the odds that I'm familiar with, and there's no strategy, there's always luck, but there is opportunities. But he could not think of that dollar or that chip as a dollar, and that dollar equating a car, a house, a boat. He said it all had to be numbers, because statistically, from his quote professional experience, is yes, the house will always win, but there will be opportunities when he has an opportunity to, make great amount of money if he plays his strategy. So at least that's the, if we're betting the farm, as the phrase goes, yeah, there's a higher risk. But if we are, betting we're going to have a good time, that's entertainment.
Okay, so go ahead, please.
No, I was going to say I'm struck in this conversation on the idea of engagement, because one is engagement that is group engagement and one is a very solitary engagement. To move into these dating apps, we're not talking about my team versus your team.
Wait,
Which
dating
can
apps?
be a group.
Dating apps?
Not dating apps.
You just said.
I did. I just said dating apps. I'm losing my mind here. No, but you move from having a shared experience with a sporting event, like I want my team and you want your team, to being a solitary thing where it really is an engagement between you and an app, as opposed to you and a community.
Right. So we've spent so much time talking about, especially recently, about attention. And in fact, I remember when in office hours, when we first started watching Apple events live together, Alex would always talk about, the Twit network talks about it the same way, of being a second screen experience. That's the real show. We're not going to show you the real show. You can just listen to us in the background, kind of talking over the real show, or you can watch us off to the side, talking about the real show. That's the way people now engage in sports, is that they've got the show, the sporting thing, but their phone is their second screen experience, which means, I think by definition, Tamara, that they're not as plugged in to the experience with whoever is with them.
It's not about the game.
Because it's not about the game anymore.
Yeah, it's about something else.
It's taken the worst, it's taken the thing that corrupts the most and brought it into the thing that used to unite and celebrate. And
well, and this is where,
how can you say it's a thing that unites when you have all these different teams competing with each other and people getting in fights because I'm for the Reds, no, I'm for the Greens. How is that uniting anything?
It's a shared experience.
Yeah.
It's an experience where you are shared with the other people who are on your side, and even the act of being against someone in like a playful competition is a shared experience.
and historically, didn't kings do this with their armies? And so what we're doing is replacing the fight with things that are less deadly. But I love the point early before we came on. Lois's point was follow the money.
Right.
And that's even the sports movie that really made that popular. Was it Jerry Maguire? Show me the money.
Yeah.
And that's the flip of, you were talking about a communal experience versus a addiction.
I want to ask those of you who know a question about following the money. So if I were to bet, which I probably won't, but if I were to bet, and I'd say, I'm going to bet $100 on this. Now, in order to get money back, there has to be someone who's going to pay me if I'm right. So here's my question to you. Does Kalshi, is it the house, and I heard Sky use that term, the house meaning the owner of the betting facility, and do they cover all the bets? Or is it, I bet $100, but nothing's going to happen unless, Tony bets $100 the other direction? How does it work?
Kelsey's not the house. Kelsey is money that is like a fee to play. It's through that fee to play.
Right. So the way Kalshi,
And you're muted, David.
I apologize. So the way Kalshi and Polymarket work is that you make let's say you're betting yes versus no, right? So if you make a yes bet, someone has to bet no, so that there is some sort of a relationship there.
So if no one bets no, it won't take my bet?
Exactly. You can't, there has to be a give and take on those, because if you win, you have to be paid out by the person or persons who bet against, right? And the opposite is true. Now, with some of the other ones, like DraftKings and FanDuel, the book sets the odds and they take your bets directly. So the app, as it were. So you're betting against the house, not against another customer. And the house covers all the bets. And both of them make money because they build in fees or a margin on top of that. Okay. Jeffrey Wilshire bets that Sky eats 23 blueberries. Do we have someone who wants to?
He doesn't have 23 blueberries left in his little dish.
And
I bet he's got 17.
More than that.
No,
And Brody
no, that's
Hefner,
more
by
than
the
that.
way, and
That's
Brody Hefner.
That was full. That was full. And then the
There you
pumpkin
go.
seeds. So I'm eating seeds and berries. I'm being very crunchy tonight. Welcome to the Pacific Northwest.
So Brody Hefner brought up in the chat this really infamous story that has come out about a White House teleprompter operator betting on Trump's speeches.
but he knew what they were ahead of time.
Of
'cause
course he
got to
did.
be in the
Of course he
practice.
did. So he's being, investigated for insider trading because he knew what the president was going to say, and he bet on it. And of course, now we've, that's where we start leaving just sports and looking at how people are betting on everything. You know what I think is fascinating is that out of everybody on this panel, the people who don't know what they're talking about have said so much, and Dave is just sitting there with a smile on his face, waiting to prove all of us wrong. Dave, help us out here. Jump in. I want to hear your
I'm
voice.
not here to make you wrong. I'm here to help you understand. For me, on the question of affected sports, I don't go to hockey games anymore. Hockey is my religion. Okay, just to set that aside. I've been studying and playing hockey and know all the players and the teams, and I look at the stats and I do all the stuff that a real fan does, a real fan. And I got the gear and the merch to show for it. The thing about hockey right now is that it's become so statistical, and it's, you guys have your baseball where you look at, how many ERAs a guy has or whatever. This is where I think the instant betting got its roots. People could do this in the stands and it wouldn't affect anybody else. Two guys sitting next to each other saying, I'll bet there's a strike coming up next. Okay, $5 says there isn't. And that's it. That's done like that. Now we've made it seamless so anybody can play this game. And they can throw a lot of money at it little by little. Little bets add up. What my dad taught me about gambling is to know your opponent. And you're not gambling, in a casino, you're gambling against the house. If you're just in a poker game, you're gambling against all the other people at the table. Something about this digital gambling is that you don't know who you're up against. And this, again, is like the Trump's speech thing, is you don't know if somebody has information, has set up a bet to sucker a lot of people thinking they know all about that, and then make them poor by incidents. Now, I personally know that I am a risk taker. I learned that early in my life, and I realized that if I was going to start gambling, I wouldn't be able to stop. So I've made myself not, but I've also made myself learn about it. So I've worked in casinos, and I have actually played in a Vegas casino and lost my $200 real quick, and I have looked at how gambling works in my own area. Our hockey games in Edmonton are famous for the 50-50 draw. Do you have that where you guys live? A 50-50 draws, and a person in attendance at the game can buy a ticket, and half of the cost of that ticket goes to a charity. The other half is assembled by all the bets that are made, and that is your prize if you had the number. They're unique numbers. Well, we have a 50-50 draw here that goes into the millions per game. And over a whole season, we have given away at least $80 million. Nobody else does it this way because the entire province can bet. Used to be you had to be at the game. Well, as soon as the commission that controls that sort of thing in our area opened the door to do it online, they had to make it available to everybody under their jurisdiction, which is 4.5 million people. And 4.5 million people literally bet on the first one. It was the biggest draw that I've ever seen.
Isn't that just the lottery?
That's just
isn't that just a lottery?
That
essentially,
it's not quite a lottery, but it goes to charity, and that's the point I'm making.
But people are buying tickets, and then they're hoping for a payout.
They are, but they know that if only one person gets it, right? The pools, the lotteries, the bingo, and all that are random chance. You don't know what the outcome can be, but in other places you can statistically guess correctly that something is going to come out the way you think. And that is where we get into things like horse racing, where if you're really smart about horses, you track their performance over an entire 3 years of their racing, you get an edge, you understand something. Of course, you're going to get a tip from some guy in a funny hat. But this kind of thing is where that is knowledgeable, that you're making a guess and you hope your guess is right. Same with trading stocks. It's not really gambling, but it has a sense of gambling to it, in that a lot of ignorant people think they're going to make a lot of money and start losing a lot of it first, to realize there's something you got to know if you're going to trade stocks. And trading stocks is not gambling if you're investing in a company, that is, taking an ownership stake in the company, which is what trading in stocks is supposed to be. Canadian law leaves all of that in the hands of the provinces and territories. We had a lottery for the Olympics in 1970, just to raise, $1 million was the prize, just to raise money to pay for it. After that, every lottery in the world was coming to our door trying to make us, use their lottery system for future things. But now I think it's a fan competition. I think fans are finding themselves online, sharing a space with other fans and other people who think they know how hockey works or how football works or what players are a little bit injured this week. And they're going to start suckering people into, hey, you want to make a bet with me? I've got this idea. So that's, I think, what's affecting sports, is if a kid can get out there and just hit the ball into left field and make people run after it, he's going to enjoy the game. But if he needs to do it in order to get his dad to win, that's going to be a whole different thing. And I'll close with betting on soccer and racing is a centuries-old tradition in the UK, and it hasn't ruined their society. The kids grow up knowing, in fact, kids grow up knowing where the betting shop is, and they bring the chit in for their dad and place the bet on his behalf. The fun part about being at a betting shop is there's like 8 screens all around you, and there's a different race going on in each of the screens. And I saw the betting rooms in Vegas, and I was quite impressed, because there were like, 5 basketball games, 2 hockey games, and something going on in Eastern Canada. And they were all sitting there on their chairs, drinking their drinks and betting on things as they felt like it. So it's a bit of a sport all on its own. This whole betting thing is you take your chances, and maybe you don't get a touchdown. That is, personally running over the line. I think it encourages compulsive behavior, and I think you'd all agree that the moral question is whether it's good or not, and if it's online and seamless, what are the effects?
Right. I also you said before that it hasn't ruined UK sports. I don't. That's not my concern. My concern, though, is that it does change the way we see sports or anything else that we're betting on. And the image that came to mind is missing the trees for the forest, or what right? So we end up, whatever the saying is,
You're seeing trees, but not the forest. Yeah.
Right. So the betting that we're talking about here is because it's on this kick and this goal and this reaction and this, we're missing the game again, right? Because so that was really like, now let me just throw out some stats here, because this is mind-boggling. From 2021 to 2025, last year, sports betting alone, just sports, grew from $57 billion to $167 billion. That's almost a 300% increase in 4 years. And Dave's question, I think, is perfect that he posed here. Now that Kalshi and other gambling apps are here, can you even imagine the jump from 2025 to 2026? 70% of Americans say that betting makes them more likely to watch a game. I guess they feel that they are quite literally invested. 90% of adults under 30 report the same. In the 22 World Cup, 20 million Americans plan to wager. 200 million bets were placed. $2 billion was wagered through just one sports book alone. The numbers are staggering. Absolutely staggering.
My mother was terrific at picking a horse. She could do it like it was uncanny. She knew horses, she understood it, and she'd just say, Dave, go put a bet on this number 5 here. He's going to come in second. And like, I just, okay. And I do my thing, come back, and she'd win it. My dad would look at her and go, you don't know anything. And said, well, you don't know anything. I know
Clearly she knows something. Yeah.
He knows how to bet. She knows how to watch a horse.
Yeah. Tony, go ahead.
Go ahead, Tony. Oh, yeah.
I'm just wondering, and it might just be me. This is not a new phenomenon at all. I think that what it is that because of the digital option to do betting, that it's just it has more access to more people and it's more visible. But as I think about history, there has always been some type of betting or gambling that has participated. If you go back to the Roman Empire, they bet on the gladiators. So
bet. Yeah.
there is this idea that I think that this is not a new thing, but there are more people who, as the data David just shared indicates, that there's just more people who have access to it and are able to participate in it. And I just wonder if it speaks to where a given society is when it gets to be widespread as it is now. I don't know if that's a different question or not.
Like putting a fiver on the pool table, right? I mean, that's betting against any, come and take my five and beat me at pool. Yeah.
I do think that this is quite different. And maybe the difference is that it's so much easier to get into this addictive behavior than it used to be.
Yes.
And we've made it that way because of these apps. I think about playing games. All right, I love to play games. When my folks got together, we'd play samba and cribbage and all these different things. Big family events, and we'd have card games all over the place. And I enjoy that as a social activity. Now I have a phone and I have an iPad and I play games, and there is no other person involved. It's just the machine and me. But it's addictive. It is, just play one more game, and when you get done with that one, it comes up next. Okay, you push the button. Oh, there's another game. So it's not that the machine is doing something that is intentionally harmful. Well, I don't think it is. And it's not that I've never played games before. It's just, it's made it so easy that it has changed my behavior.
I've spent this week learning about MCP servers. MCP
that?
servers are model context protocol servers, and basically they're like a USB-C cable for AI. So it's a protocol or a bridge that connects AI models to external tools and data sources and stuff like that. So basically, think about an app that you love, but think about being able to control that app or interact with that app from within OpenAI or ChatGPT or Claude or any of those, right? That's an MCP server. As you're talking, I'm thinking that I'm sure it already exists, but we are not at all far away from us not even having to do the betting itself. Right. From our AI chatbots, because they can do it so much quicker than we can. They're able to do all the betting, and maybe that'll actually allow us to enjoy the game again. I don't know. Maybe that's not a terrible thing.
30 years ago, I remember the oil companies in trading, they moved the computers closer to the hub so that they could have that millisecond ability to make the trades even faster. Mm-hmm. So that commoditization of making those trades now on a consumer level.
Yeah.
This is that's not.
Those computers are all in New Jersey now. They're all within the same room in New Jersey with the same cable length between the machines.
And a really fat cable.
There's no zero advantage anymore.
There you go. Tony, did you want to jump in before?
No.
Tony, I stepped on you before, I think. Did you want to jump in?
No, we're good.
Okay. All right. Sorry, Dave. Did you want to say something?
Well, I guess in what Lois was talking about, it occurred to me that anything that has odds in it is gambling. Mm-hmm. Otherwise, it's just a game of chance. So you're playing a game of chance with cards, but if you're going to play the odds, what are the odds that the ace is coming up? Well, then you're making a bet. So I was thinking.
I,
back
I
to
would
when we
argue it's
first
the other
talked
way.
about the types of.
I would
things.
argue it's the other way around, Dave. I would say when you place a bet that the next card is an ace, then you're playing the odds rather than the other way around. Yeah.
Yeah.
Tony, go
Well,
ahead.
But
and
if you're
then
just-
when you're playing, you do not want to sit behind Aunt Fran because she will mess you up every single time.
Tony,
You
go
don't know
ahead.
who you're playing against, right? That's what I
Yeah.
was talking about. Yeah.
Tony.
I was just wondering if the panel thinks that there is a socio-economic reason why gambling may have increased. I was just wondering what the panel.
Oh,
thinks.
I
I
can
got a
tell
feeling on that
on
one,
these
yes.
on these apps, it's because it's micro betting.
Yeah.
Yeah, because you don't
In
have
my
to.
neighborhood, it's government money. Like half of it goes to the government, and they're funding their government with betting. That's what's happening up here.
I mean,
Well,
with
what
Kalshi,
I guess what I'm really sort of trying to get at is when it comes to people who really don't have the resources to gamble,
Mhm.
but they do, is it in part because there is a need to try to find a way to help their
Maximize their money.
income, or take a risk to try to
Well, it's an
I think
endorphin.
that's- I think there's
Absolutely, you
two-
get an endorphin hit when you win. It's like golfing. Every third hole, you might actually get a good hit, but the agony in between, those good swings and hitting and connecting with the ball are few and far between for me, at least.
I think that the money part, which was the third thing that I was saying, that people think they can make money at it. And if you're betting on something that is a known activity in your community, if you're familiar with this particular game or that particular thing, you feel comfortable, you feel empowered, you think, well, hey, I can do that. It's like buying a lottery ticket when the tickets are $1 each versus buying a lottery ticket if they were $100 each.
Well,
There's
the
a
promises-
difference the difference isn't in how much money I played, it's in whether or not I think that I can win.
But
and the
also, I
promi-
think with the lottery ticket, go ahead, Sky.
well, just quickly, again, how many commercials do we see on broadcast television that are encouraging the winner is got this better life? This winner is got it all. So yeah, we're being encouraged to participate in a fantasy.
I think too with lottery tickets, because I know like my family, my dad would play his mom's lottery ticket and his brother's lottery numbers in our lottery, and then his lottery numbers were played in Massachusetts and New Hampshire and all the other places. And like once you get into that thing, it was like you have to play them. You have to play them because what if the week you don't play them is the week you're going to win, right? So it's like that. There's an addiction and a draw. But one of the things I was thinking about in terms of this, especially just the ease of use, I think it really speaks to the broader context of where we all sit in with technology, where it's about multitasking, it's about speed, it's about like, I don't have to leave my house in order to do it, and I could be doing 10 other things. And that I think is one of the struggles with technology. Like again, I love it, but that's the struggle all that with everything. There's an addictive quality to scrolling on TikTok. And I think that when you're able to just do something so quickly and so easily, that actually perpetuates it a lot. You don't have to, like, I live a mile away from the Santa Anita racetrack. And, so you go when I've gone to the Santa Anita racetrack, for me, betting is kind of like, oh, I'm doing a fun social thing. Of course, we're going to bet on a couple races. Clearly, that is not the case for every single person that is there. And now, as you drive by, it's like there's all of the betting. I can go and bet on all the horse races in all of the land from that place, right? Or I can use an app to do that. So I think that there's just varying degrees of it, but this makes it a much more easy gateway into something that is not.
Remember a lawyer,
not as fun.
lawyer once saying that in a divorce, it's not a matter of who wins more, it's who loses less.
Right.
Mhm.
So as I'm hearing you talk about this, I'm thinking, okay, to Lois's point, who is the winner? Well, it's going to be the people that are getting the tiny bit of transaction off the billions of people making the transactions.
Mhm.
And they're not guilty. They're just helping you, make your thing and encouraging you and telling you how much, better you're going to be than the neighbor, or that you will get all of your dreams come true if you, wish upon a star, whatever the
Yeah.
encouragement there is. So
I used to work bingos for charities, and they went from the paper and the daubers to machines. And I was delivering machines to the tables. And one lady looked up at me and said, "One day it's going to be, I just give them my credit card over the phone and they tell me if I win." It was like that fatality of it. Bingo is just, we're maybe going to win, but we're only here to smoke cigarettes and have a good time. So, yeah.
God, that's bringing back such memories. Go ahead,
brilliant.
Lois.
There are lots of reasons that people buy lottery tickets or play bingo or do all that sort of stuff. There's lots of reasons. I'm going to share with you something that I did, and that is I was setting up a table to sell my crafts and art stuff at a fair. It was a holiday fair, and the church that we were in had a little little place where you could buy a ticket, and they were going to have a prize, and it was an iPad, an Apple iPad. And I went, "Oh, that's really cool." And then I thought about that saying, if you don't play, you can't win. So I went in and I bought one ticket. And she said, "Don't you want a whole bunch of them?" And I said, "No, if God wants me to have it, one's enough." And at the end of the day, they brought me my iPad.
For
Wait,
$1.
really? You
Yes.
won?
That's awesome.
iPad for $1. All right.
Wow,
But
that's
again, again, these devices are often given away at not at cost, but it's the delivery device for the service that you're going to get,
right.
subscribed to or something.
I want Lois to pick my stocks. That's what
Yeah, I know.
My mom
Well,
wins
just
everything. She
one-
like
you
every
only need one
raffle
ticket.
she wins.
Oh, good
if you're
point.
supposed to have it, you only need one
Yeah.
ticket.
Dave, you
There's
brought
the
me.
bet. How many here have won something? See, in the odds of a thing,
Never
I
win anything.
think I have won a pair of shoes.
Mm.
Nope.
Here's a
Never
good one
win
for you,
anything.
because they had a little door prize at a stag that I was invited to, and I was the only guy at the stag who does not drink. So I'm having my Coca-Cola or whatever, and they're all trying to ply me with drinks, and I'm not. But the ticket was to win a Texas Mickey. You know what that is? It's a big giant bottle of whiskey. It's about like, a gallon.
How much
And-
could you sell that for, Dave?
Yeah. So they had a Texas Mickey of rum, and I had my ticket because I went in the door and put my coat up. Anyway, at the end of the day, I win. And everybody is not happy about it because they all know I don't drink. So what good is winning the Texas Mickey? However, I had an uncle who loved his rum. And he was the happiest man on the planet when I walked in the room with this big box, and he knew what it was. And I said, "This is for you." And he was my best friend for years.
You brought me back, Dave, when I was, for 20 years, I was a rabbi. I served a congregation in Canton, Massachusetts. And our financial wherewithal in the temple depended on our Monday night bingo games. We ran bingo games from, I think our doors opened at 4:00, and they ran maybe from 6 to 8 or something like that. And hundreds of people who are not members of our congregation came, and they smoked. We had these huge smoke removal things in the social hall, smoke everywhere. And
This guy can testify as to how tall I am.
yeah,
And those rooms were choking up there. I'll tell you.
Yes,
Yeah,
yes.
standing up.
I'm so
and
sorry for
we
you.
I remember when we actually decided to close that game because we worried about the gambling aspect of it, the smoke
We were
aspect of
enabling.
it,
you were
right.
being an enabler.
Right.
Sure.
And we made
For-
a
for
ton of money,
charitable
and we made a
cause,
ton of
but-
money
yeah.
on it as the house.
At what
Yeah.
cost?
Exactly.
This is the trade-off.
And so
isn't
this
it?
is
Yeah.
the moral value, ethical question that we continue to.
But I will
said
share a
when we-
bingo trick in case you ever have to do a bingo in the future, is when you're counting out the tickets at the table, drop one. because they'll always buy it. They think
there you
it's the lucky one.
They think it's
It
the lucky
fell out
one.
of my hand, and I learned to make them drop. I was really good at getting extra dollars because I would drop the ticket.
So, I want to try and steer us
Superstition?
a little bit,
Okay.
just a little stition, not superstition. I want to.
If you've seen all the stuffed animals they put
Dynastation.
around themselves, it's all superstition.
That's right. Other little tchotchkes. You're right. I remember that. Yeah. So let me try and push this or broaden this a little bit. And what is the appeal to, I don't want to say betting, but maybe prediction markets, predicting, will a particular candidate win? Will the Fed cut interest rates? Will a movie exceed a certain box office total? How has this seeped in to outside of sports, where I agree it has been for decades, for centuries maybe, into every aspect of our lives?
So
Hubris.
luck. What?
The
How do you
modification.
feel when a thing finally happens that goes your way, that is a positive? I'm reading an email. I'm very tenuous about this because it's from a lawyer, and it's dealing with something that's very not potentially contentious in my world, a thing I've invested deep into. I don't know if you know the Pacific Northwest very well. We get rain a lot. We never get thunderstorms. We do not hear booms and I've been to North Carolina, New Hampshire, and it can boom in a cloud. But I'm reading this lawyer thing, and it says, and this thing that we've been discussing, we're going to kind of step away from, and it might be that it'll go in your favor. A large, big thunderclap that rocked the windows happened. Exactly, Troutman. It's like, is that a sign? Am I being superstitious?
Is it sign
Tamara,
for or
help me.
against?
I
Right.
know. And that's all about attitude, isn't it? After that.
Well,
And then immediately I went, well, I'm going to believe it's a sign, and it's going to be a good sign.
Was there
If,
an
if
eclipse
you
last year?
if you want to know what you should do about something, think
Roll
about it.
dice.
Flip the coin, and while it's in the air and you've gone like this, you'll know what you wish it comes up as. You never have to look at it. That will help you decide what you really want.
So here's
I'll do that.
here's the Kalshi on tonight's speech. What will Trump say during the speech to the nation? Million, billion, trillion, 20 plus times. By the way, this is over now. Will he mention Iran, Iranian, nuclear, Biden, interference? That a lot of people bet on that. 12,548 people, 100%. That was a yes. He got fraud or fraudulent. That had, I think, the highest number, 22,875. And basically, the way this works is 23,000 people thought he'd talk about transgender. The way this works is if you buy a yes, then you win. If you buy a no, then you don't win. It's binary. And getting back
What
to,
if he doesn't say it?
then you
If
lose.
said no.
Then you lose.
No, if you said, does he
No,
say this thing? And you say, no, he doesn't.
Then you win.
Okay,
Right.
I thought you said, okay.
It's binary. It's meaning it's one or the other. But my point here is that, Tony, this is making me think of what you were saying before about the accessibility of all of this. Buying in is at 1 penny. Anybody can,
Well, it's a gateway. It's a
right?
gateway drug.
Exactly. And I think someone said I don't remember who it was, but maybe it was David, it was you, said that they will give you a whole bunch of free credits to just get you started. Oh, Vic said that. Sorry. Vic says most of the platforms offer a large credit incentive to place your first bet. So they get you hooked, and boy, you win one of these.
And this is back to Anthropic versus OpenAI. Why do we get so much access to these tools to begin with? Because we're on a march to get us addicted. And you're already, we already talked about, well, I'm so, in love with this tool because that tool sucks.
No, I feel it's different. I think it's different. I think I'm in love with this tool because I have invested my time and effort into it. And sometimes
I've got $100,000 piece of
No, but-
computer hardware
right,
that
but-
I haven't gotten got rid of.
Sometimes it benefits me, sometimes it doesn't. I'm not invested in it because it's the best. This was actually a point that
It's
I don't
good
remember.
enough.
Someone made it exactly that if you know if don't jump around trying to find the best tool. Find the tool that works for you and just stick with it, because they're all essentially they're all parody. They're all essentially the same.
Until you try to plug in a computer that won't talk to your machine and you have to upgrade something.
Well, that's a Lois problem, but but these
Blueberries,
to
yeah.
me,
So how
Polymarket
many-
or Cowshy, this is different. This is not about this is the best thing for me because I've invested. This feels different. This is much stickier and much
But I
more
think-
dangerous, I think.
I think Jeffrey's comment in Mukana is really telling too. Sometimes bets are made hoping to have a better life, and
Yeah.
I think that
There it
is
is.
there's a promise that is kind of that you're
There it
engaging
is.
in, whether there's logical
is.
reasons behind it. There's just a promise of greatness, and I think that's true even in the things like TikTok. There's a promise that the next little video is going to be better than this video, and the next one's going to be better, and that forms an addictive bond that makes it much more difficult to separate from.
So Jeffrey Wiltshire, how many more blueberries do I have in my pot? The bet is that Jeffrey will know.
You know,
But
the
he
other
Will
will
it make
eating 'em.
Jeffrey's life better? I don't think so. He's like checked out at that one.
I think that there's a danger beyond the personal danger, and that is a societal danger. And now I'm not talking about the betting on sports. I'm talking about sort of the everything else. And that is that we now look at the world through the lens of everything as an asset. Everything is it's possible to make money off of anything, right? A war has a price charge, a celebrity's death, a natural disaster, a medical breakthrough. Everything becomes an opportunity for profit, for me to bet on. And that feels really dangerous.
Well, and we're seeing that in policy, where we're saying some college things are not a good return on investment. Therefore, they're no longer eligible for money to support them. But what's a return on investment for one person is not the same return on investment for another person. And we're having more and more things that are really weighed up against how much can I get, and that how much I can get really does infiltrate everything in our lives. It's how fast can I go through the light even though it's red? How fast can I get to something? Starbucks drops a crazy bear and everybody's lining up to be the first one to get it. And it's I think it does speak to a bigger societal problem of where we are kind of this me first, and how do I get money for, like, what is the best. I'm not valid if I don't have a good return on
Well, and
investment.
historically, we had geographic regions. So we were talking about societies and people groups
Right.
that were changing each other in that way. But now that the world is flat and we are pseudo mostly all connected, even in the digital haves and have nots, but a larger majority of humanity as a species are now challenged by this conversation. So that's why I'm grateful that we're talking about values, morals, and ethics, because I think it's not we're losing it in the local, synagogues, organizations, churches, because everybody's looking for that big win over there and the shiny thing. And that's why, Paskin, when you said pick a horse to ride, you didn't say that. You were using a horse metaphor, but it's you bet on the horse you rode in on.
Don't
guess we're going
change
with-
horses.
Right.
Don't change
Midstream.
horses midstream.
Midstream, yeah.
Lois, your history for somebody that doesn't know about betting, you have all the best quotes.
My mother was an English teacher. I learned so many words, you wouldn't believe it. My favorite games to play are word games. I mean, I love Boggle. I love playing Boggle with other people. I mean, it's just okay.
And you put
But
yourself
anyway.
through college betting on, no, I don't know what.
No, not yet. So here's a question. Can you, in one of those betting apps, can you write your own question, pose it and then see if anybody else wants to vote against you. For example, I could say on the next rundown show, next Thursday on a certain date, I bet that there will be 7 people on the panel.
My bet is Sky will interrupt you.
So the question is, could one do that? And if so, would that get more people interested in the show and tuning in to watch us? And maybe that's a reason to put one of those questions out there, is to get more people to go and watch the World Cup or to listen to President Trump's speech or whatever. What do you think?
What's the value to people that show up?
Well, they get to watch the rundown show.
But you know what it is? I mean, yes, I hope, but also it's we've been talking about attention. In many ways, it's more about investment, and I don't mean financial investment. It's about investment more than attention. If someone is invested in an experience, then whether that's financial or otherwise, then it matters more. Then they show up, then they're present. The whole premise, it seems to me, of office hours, and the reason why questions are so important to office hours, is because when you ask a question or when you vote on a question, you're invested. I asked it Tuesday night, on the Tuesday night show, I asked a question in the chat, and I really had to go do something, but I couldn't leave because my question was about to be asked, right? So I was invested in it. And so I think what you just raised, Lois, is fascinating. I think that if people could bet on anything, that gives them an investment. Yeah. In this case, a financial one.
Well, it's also the word engagement and participation. And this is, again, where Tony's conversation, or both of those things, versus Madeline Smithberg, is a performance. And it's up to Madeline to carry that engagement with what is she going to do next, versus the dialogue that happens between 2 humans or 3 on Tony's show is the spontaneity, is the information, is the encouragement of humanity. Those are my observations.
It looks, just a quick search to answer the question, that on most of these you cannot publish a real money market yourself. You can submit a market suggestion. Will a precisely defined event happen by a precise time and date? And then they review it and they decide. It seems that a quick search showed me that. So I don't know.
It was mentioned at the beginning of the show that there was a sense of community around sports. And I can testify to that because all the games I attended in the 70s and 80s, all the people around me knew each other. And we would show up for every of these games, and it was a continuing conversation that we were having about hockey. And the game would stop at a whistle, and somebody might scrape the ice or something, but we would talk to each other between whistles. And then during intermission, you'd be standing in line to get your ice cream or whatever, and you're talking to some other people who are at the game and have a shared interest. That sense of community has vanished. I don't go to the games anymore because the commercials have taken over. There's somebody trying to get your attention the whole time the game's not being played. And I think it has a negative effect on the players because they have to stop, lean against the boards, and wait for the commercials to be over. And that throws off the crowd. And nobody in the crowd is paying any attention now. They're all watching the scoreboard and its contests and kiss cams and all the rest. They're here for the experience, but they're not really here for the game. Our team used to be known as the library. Our rink was so quiet that it interfered with the other team. The visiting team would wonder if anybody was paying attention because we were paying such close attention, we weren't talking. Now it's cheering a dump into the far end. It's a cheer for the goalie actually stopped the puck. We're not actually watching the game anymore. We're cheering the bats, I guess. And that to me is a tragedy that the community that I used to feel I was part of has had to wander off and let the other people take the seats.
And
I bet Sky has no.
I bet no one bet against Sky not finishing that.
Yeah.
Well, I bet I was going to put in what Trump did not say, but then I don't want to get kicked off the group. So
Yeah. So if you missed Trump's speech, he said a whole bunch of nothing. Just say no. And that's not a political statement. That's just, it's nothing that we haven't heard before.
But I would have won had I bet on a certain word that he would not say. I would have won.
You would have won.
I would have won.
And with that, my friends, we're going to call it. And I'm going to thank all of you for being here and watching along with us. Vic and Jeffrey, good to have you here. Everyone who's watching online, Brody, thank you for being here. Of course, my daughter is here, Dahlia. Good seeing all of you here. Thank you for being a part of Office Hours. Thank you for being a part of the Rundown community. We are here every Thursday night, at least night where I am. It's now 10:20 where I am on the East Coast. Tomorrow morning, we'll be back with another episode of your questions and your answers because we want you invested in everything that we do in Office Hours. So come back with your questions tomorrow morning. Tomorrow afternoon, we'll be in the Zoom test kitchen, and we will be back here next Thursday night. Until then, hoping all of you have a fantastic weekend. Thank you, panelists. Good seeing you.